All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Chris Barrett, Castle Wealth Group. So we do these legal, financial, tax planning question workshop webinars. Hello. About once a week, where we just slug in and answer questions people either submit ahead of time or submit as part of the webinar. So there's no script to them. There's no PowerPoint. It's really just answering questions that have been submitted. So, and I always like to start with positive focus, just something positive that happened over the last week. And for me, something positive was it this week? Hold on. Oh yeah. So my daughter had her last soccer game of the season, which she won. They won 1-0. I was coach, and so they won 4 games, lost 2, tied 2. So they did pretty good. It was the first year playing 11v11. And then my son, he had his last marching band performance where they did Thriller. It was kind of cool. That was kind of fun. And then he has another event this Friday inside. So a lot of fun kid stuff. All right. Now with that, we'll go ahead and get started. And I had only one question submitted ahead of time. So if you do have any other questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A. But let me get this one going. This button. All right. And again, if you do have a legal, financial, tax question, feel free to put it in Q&A. Technology, it's great, except for when it doesn't. So, boop, boop, hit this. And let me share the question. And here's the question. All right, so how can blended families ensure fair distribution of assets among children from different relationships? Are there any rules regarding this matter? So really what we're talking about is blended families. And I had this situation actually this morning with some clients. So let's say we have, and it doesn't even have to be kids. Maybe one side has kids or both have kids from previous marriages. Maybe they don't even have kids. It really doesn't matter. But the issue is, and we talk about this in our workshops that we do on a regular basis, our estate planning workshops, and we call this the Elaine situation. So let's say we have husband and wife. Wife passes away. Where does everything go? Husband. Okay, husband grieves for a month, falls in love, meets someone else. We'll call her Elaine. Elaine brings home cooked meals to your husband 6 times. Each time she visits, she wears a skimpier outfit. Can't wait to redecorate your home, especially that hideous wallpaper you chose. And she thinks that money that's earmarked for your kids shouldn't be spent on more important things like jewelry, sports cars, European spa vacations, right? So now if husband passes away, where might all the money go? Money might go to Elaine versus where you originally intended. So that's a scenario that's played out of, okay, one spouse passes away, spouse gets remarried at an older age. Now all the money goes to that new spouse versus going down to the kids. Likewise, married couple, second marriage, we have kids from previous marriages. One spouse passes away. If everything just goes outright to the survivor and survivor doesn't talk to the kids from the other marriage, 10 years go down the line, then survivor might just leave stuff to their kids, right? So how do we protect against this? This is where we build in legacy provisions. So with a trust, we would set up typically 2 trusts, 1 trust for each spouse. If one spouse passes away, the money could be used for the surviving spouse. But when that surviving spouse passes away, money doesn't go to a new spouse or just to their side of the family. It goes to where the deceased spouse originally intended. So we can lock in the interest of that initial spouse. So we can still provide for the survivor if we want to. Sometimes we don't even provide for the surviving spouse. We just have it go directly to the kids. But with separate trusts, we can then build in some of these rules or language to say to what extent we're going to provide for the surviving spouse. It could be fully, where they can use their money for their health, education, maintenance, support, whatever they need. And then when they pass away, it goes to where you originally intended. It could just go outright, but then the surviving spouse could remarry or it could go to their side of the family. So that's why a lot of times second marriages, we have it go to them in trust. Or we could have a percentage. Maybe half goes to provide for the surviving spouse, the rest goes to the kids. Or situation we did this morning, we just have the home going to the surviving spouse can stay in the home, but all the assets are going to the kids from the previous marriage. So there's different ways that we can do it. The key is we need to set up a trust and build in those legacy type provisions inside of the trust when we are protecting against kind of that second marriage situation. So hopefully that was helpful. All right, here's another question that's coming in. So let me tee this one up. And let me share my screen. And share my screen. All right. Which IRA fund should I draw from first, Roth or traditional IRA? So the answer is it depends. Depends on your situation and where you think taxes are going. So understand, like, we have three types of tax accounts. We have pre-tax accounts like traditional IRAs. We have tax-free accounts like Roth IRAs. And then we have non-qualified or taxable accounts like checking savings. You get 1099s, joint brokerage accounts where you pay capital gains on that. So typically what we recommend in the question, and the reason we do this is, do you think taxes are going up or down in the future? If you think taxes are going up in the future, then typically we'd recommend that you pull down, you spend your IRA money first or do Roth conversions, taking money out of these tax infested accounts and moving it over to something either tax-free or post-tax. Because I'd rather pay a 12 or 22% tax now than a 15 or 25 or much higher tax in the future. So if you're looking at any of your pre-tax accounts, you might see $1 million sitting there. You don't actually have $1 million. You have a debt to the IRS. And think of it like a mortgage. So you might have $1 million, but if your tax rate's 20%, you have a $200,000 tax bill that has to be paid at some point. So you don't really have $1 million. So think of it like a mortgage. But we know that when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expires in 2026, taxes are going up unless they extend it. Plus, we're $35 trillion in debt, so taxes could go up much higher. And keep in mind, if taxes go up, the value of your pre-tax accounts, like your IRAs, they immediately drop. So if taxes go up 10%, the value of your IRA just dropped 10%, like it's an adjustable rate mortgage. And we know the government's adjusting the taxes up in the future. That's the current law. Plus, we're 38 or $35 trillion in debt. So typically what we recommend as a general rule is that if you think taxes are going up, you should be drawing on the IRA money first for your income, and then also looking at your tax brackets to figure out how much of a IRA conversion should you do. So if you need, let's say you want to get up to the 22% tax bracket, which maxes out at about 200,000 as a married couple. Let's say you need $100,000 of income to live on for the year. So you pull that out of your IRA, pay the tax, but then that leaves you in the 22% tax bracket, another $100,000 that you could pull out, pay the tax, and invest somewhere else, either post-tax or inside of a Roth. So yeah, really one of the big things since probably 2018, when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was passed, is we've been banging the drum of looking at paying the taxes sooner rather than later on the IRA money. So which IRAs funds should I draw from first? All things being equal, typically, if you think taxes are going up, we'd recommend pulling from the pre-tax IRA money, A, for your income, and then B, to do things like Roth conversions or trust conversions. Had a client that today they have about 3 million of total assets, and we're shooting over the next 3 years to get them completely post-tax in their investments so that they don't have any pre-tax money left. Everything will be much more tax efficient for their retirement, and then also what they leave as a legacy. So hopefully that was helpful. Another question that just came in, is there no tax on sale of personal residence? Yeah, typically with your personal residence, you're going to have exemptions. And I think it's, again, I'm not a CPA. We have a CPA as part of our team, but if I'm not mistaken, the exemption for married couple, you can have up to like $500,000. And then if, as long as you're to purchase something else, you still don't pay any capital gains. So typically we don't see capital gains on the personal investments. All right. Okay. Well, that's all I got. I do appreciate it. Make it a great week. If you do have any other questions, feel free to email them over.